we've been debating that versatility, switching from 7s into 15s, but then also positional switches. And obviously Ilona's at the top of a lot of people's minds on this. How hard is that switch between playing in the back line and then playing in the forwards, at least at PWR level?
Yeah, I think a lot of it will come down to like your attacking system, doesn't it? And how you use, like, I don't think it's uncommon knowledge that like most people will push a back row to an outside edge, isn't it? So you effectively do play a bit like a center, and it gives you more attacking threat. So now if you really wanted, you can attack heavy to one side with your back line, right? But when you come back, now all of a sudden you've got back row, but you've also got like handling front rows anymore. Like I think particularly in the women's game, everyone has a lot of handling experience. You've got a lot of footwork in the front row, in the locks, all across the board. So again, the transition is still hard. You still have starter plays you have to learn. They are a bit more complex, aren't they? There is less space, but as far as once you get into genuine play, I do think it's pretty seamless.
You did get really stuck in on the Ilona memes.
They were so good. Did you enjoy them?
I did. I didn't know it was happening, and I was actually at home making breakfast, eggs, of course,
naturally,
obviously breakfast food. And I got a collaborator request from Trailfinders Women, and my roommate works in the marketing department. She came home and she was just like at the counter doing stuff, and I made a comment about seeing Exiters, and I was like, oh, how funny! Like that is actually, there's some pretty cheeky memes, and she's like, oh, yeah, we might have something coming, and she's being really weird, and I hadn't accepted the collaborator request yet, so I finally opened it once I sat down to breakfast, and I was like, ah, that's a good shout out.
yeah.
But yeah, she was like waiting, and I was like, why are you being so weird? She was like, nothing.
Did you accept the request?
Eventually.
Yeah.
I did leave it for a bit, and I was like, yeah, actually, I want to be a part of that.
Did you see Gloucester Hartbury's repost on it? Just went, you okay, hun?
No, actually, I didn't. I'm pretty bad sometimes the last few weeks, but those ones were funny. It was good to see, because I know even in the evening, Exeter posted again. And then obviously Bristol was coming out with all of their content. It was a good couple of days of content.
It was funny.
Yeah.
As a leader, how do you reflect on the coverage over the last week or two?
Of Alona coming,
Yeah.
their impacts. I mean, I think it's good ultimately, right? Like, one, again, good coverage. It means everyone's names are getting out. The league is growing. Obviously, even Bristol's, I think, fan base is quadrupled in the last week. I mean, even Ealing's, I think that post alone got like 2,500 likes, which was massive compared to like 200. So the coverage is good. It's building the game. It's building the brand. I'm sure for Alona, it's also good for her brand. You can't take over, she's taking over everywhere she goes. She's getting lots and lots of likes. I think she's enjoying her time in Bristol from the looks of it as well. But the media, I think, is good. And like, I appreciate that everyone's they're seeing what she does also, which some of the content is just fun-loving content. And it shows you also how easy it can be, doesn't it? Like, I think people think it has to be complicated, marketing for the women's game, but at some point it just means turning a camera on, shooting some content and posting it.
Have you thought about the potential impact if she was a part of the US 15 squad, and what that may or may not change in terms of the amount of eyes and coverage and all of that sort of stuff? Because that's going to have quite a big impact, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there will be ideally more viewership, but even I think coming off the Sevens Olympic, how well they did, even right off the bat, then USA Rugby had more likes, more follows, more people following. We rolled that then into WXV. So you're already seeing a few more people starting to turn their eyes to USA Rugby. Obviously that will, again, probably double or triple once Alona's coming to her first camp, coming into one of her first games, ideally in the next year. So it's good, but sure, does that mean there's a bit more pressure on us to perform? But that being said, I think we've also got a new head coach. He's about to celebrate his 1-year anniversary with USA Rugby. I think the team you see come next year with Alona, or even if without Alona, let's say, I think a lot of people will be looking at it. It'll be a really good team to watch, just because the brand of rugby is changing. The athletes in the jerseys are getting better and better each week, whether they're playing here, whether they're playing back in the States, whether they're still in uni as well. So, I think we're up to the challenge, though.
You could recreate some of the memes in real life when you're all in camp together. That would be so fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, how does the funding of the program work on the 15s side? Because I know that Alicia, for example, was telling us about how the Canadian girls knew going to the Paris Olympics that they had to medal in order to secure funding for that program to continue. Ilona's spoken about that in the Sevens program also, how important the Olympics basically, and where you place there. I mean, you can win the World Series for all you want, all 4 years in a row. If you don't medal at the Olympics, it's almost inconsequential. how does it work on the 15 side, and how do you earn enough support? Is there a way through which, through performance, you can secure things, and does the World Cup factor into that?
Yeah, I think you've always got your base rate that the union provides, right? So all the teams have whatever base rate the union provides from their budget, you know, through sponsorships and investments and things like that. Each program then has some kind of foundation. You know, our sevens programs also have the Golden Eagles, which is a alumni group they give money back to the teams to help support, again, in those 4 years leading up to the Olympics. Obviously, the Olympic teams do receive additional funding then from Olympic committees. So they have a couple sources. For 15s, it is a bit more difficult. Like, we have our base rate. And then recently now we have the XV Foundation, started by Christine Sommer and Alicia Washington. They've been running that, and that primarily goes to helping the players individually. So those who have to take time off from work when they're on tours and they're losing income because they're not making money. They do a lot of like scholarships to support those players, as well as then trying to help fundraise for the program, looking ahead to like World Cup, which could offset costs for like team events. You know, like you guys went whale watching. So that kind of stuff, though, that builds like their important stuff. It's not just the rugby, isn't it, though? It's like what you do in and around it. So we do have their support. And then, of course, sponsors that look to sponsor the team. But sponsors want visibility, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's what comes to a World Cup. You need a good performance, because if you have a good performance, sponsors come in, right? And like Seven saw, we took bronze, and next thing you know, they got, what, 4 million?
4
Whatever
million,
it was.
$4 million.
$4 million.
From Michelle Kang.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah. But
If you are watching the show,
Please.
Michelle, let's chat.
I know you like sevens, and Alona's on our team now. So, but what's great is like that performance got them the visibility. Not only do you get the other bonuses and things, but then sponsors see that. Sponsors think, oh, wow, okay, great. I want to put money into a team like that.
And you are hosting both the men's and the women's Rugby World Cups in 2031 and 2033.
Tune in 10 years from now.
Yeah, no pressure.